What's going on, everybody? This is John J Gaming on the mic here, coming at you with a brand new episode of the FCS Dynasty here on NCAA 06. We are in that inaugural season of this FCS series, week number 10 action here that features 8 really good games. But I think you guys will personally enjoy. It's going to be a great one. Make sure you go ahead, smash that like button, hit subscribe if you're brand new to the channel, by the way. I would appreciate all of that. And we start week 10 action here with a great matchup out here in the SEC conference. We got McNeese State taking on Georgia Southern, two teams who are 5-2. McNeese State was ranked, Georgia Southern not so much as of right now, but doesn't change the fact it's going to be a great game that could very well determine who ends up winning the SEC conference. You never know. At least like SEC less division action. And not only that, but we also get to take a look at Ikeita Woods, who is in that Heisman Trophy race. He's a do-it-all quarterback. He can throw the football. He's got, really good legs, on pace for 1,000 yards rushing, which for a quarterback, really big deal, honestly. So, we'll see how that plays out. Two teams who are very talented going up against each other. But we see the first big break for the Georgia Southern Eagles is Richard Carpenter is able to pick off Stacy Respris. Stacy's mom not going to be really enjoying that. And it's going to be an early 3-0 lead. Let's make it 10-0 as Ikeita Wood stiff arms a man into the next century. And sitting only at 5'6", he comes with a really big chip on his shoulder for sure. As again, he is the pure definition of a dual threat quarterback, but his team is folding on him. His team fumbles the football, and McNeese State able to recover the football inside the 45-yard line. Look at this, just, tackling at just the right spot. Unfortunately, McNeese State couldn't do anything about it. And it's still a 10-0 lead as Ikeita Woods, man, I have been really impressed with him as a passer, and I thought that was going to be a touchdown. Did not happen there. Georgia Southern will turn out a field goal there. And speaking of Ikeita Woods, how about this stiff arm right there? Oh my! How about this? 5'6", 170 pounds, and he stiff arms a defender into the ground. This kid is special, man. He is a special player. You want my early vote for potentially that player of the year? It might have to be this guy, although, he doesn't play mistake-free. He wants to be phenomenal. He turns the football over. I think he was trying to do a pitch, and then he backed it out last second. But, when he tried to get that ball back in, he didn't have it fully secured, and that did lead to the fumble. No points again for McNeese State. So a 20-0 lead here as they get a little bit spicy with the reversal, and it's going to work extremely well as it's going to add another 7 points onto the board. The fans dancing in the stands, and it's 27-0 in favor of Georgia Southern. We'll see if Ikeita Woods can strike twice, and how about this? Getting the pitch off right before we see Ikeita Woods come down. Absolutely incredible. 34-0 lead for Georgia Southern. As I thought Woods was just going to keep it the whole time, but he pitches it last second. It's going to create another touchdown, and Georgia Southern, man, they're going to, looks like they might be running away with it here, unless, Stacy here can do something here in this fourth quarter, but he's going to get sacked for a loss. Brandon Forden taking care of things in the backfield. 3rd and 17 here. We'll see if Stacy can get it going here. Can his offensive line hold up? And the answer, just a resounding no, unfortunately, as Ogletree gets in there, gets the sack, and Georgia Southern ultimately going to run away with it, winning pretty convincingly in this one, winning 41-7. So I saw this in the comments, and we finally get the opportunity to show New Mexico State, man, in gameplay. They've been really good this year. Undefeated, ranked top 5 in the country. Taking on the Idaho Vandals, who, going to be a tough challenge for Idaho as New Mexico State. They're employing Carrie Williams, who is also currently in that Heisman Trophy race as of right now. It's currently, I believe, sitting in second place, if I'm not mistaken, as both teams are getting ready to go ahead and take the field. But speaking of Carrie Williams, that's the man right there, second in the NCAA in both passing yards as well as passing touchdowns. So he's been, a really great quarterback for them so far this year. But this game does not start with a rushing play, or not passing play from Carrie Williams, but they're going to start this thing on the ground, and that's even with the goal line set. 8 guys in the box. Can't do anything about it. New Mexico State is going to go ahead and strike first. But unfortunately for us, though, and I didn't realize it until, after I finished the game, the capture god poops out shortly after that play. So that was the only highlight that I got. So I really apologize for that. New Mexico does win 24-10. Hopefully they get another top 25 opponent so that we can check them out later this year. But that is definitely a shame. So we do check in on another top 25 matchup, though, in the MAC Conference this time, though. We got number 6 Ohio taking on the number 18 ranked Buffalo Bulls. Now, last time we see Buffalo in gameplay, they went up against Akron, and, Buffalo got blown out. So we'll see if they can play a little bit better and possibly get themselves a little bit of an upset here, taking on a team from Athens, Ohio, who can come out here and, maybe hand them their first loss of the year. You never know. That's why you come out here and play the game of football. That's why not everything is simulated, of course. But that being said, we jump into one of the first drives of the game. Danny Graves going to get it out to his receiver, but his receiver forgets about securing the football. Oh, that is crazy. He forgets to secure that football. And Buffalo with great field position to start off. Matter of fact, they drive inside the 5-yard line. They try to do the direct snap, but that's fumbled too. So we've now seen, by the way, not even through halfway through the first quarter as of right now, we see both teams already turn the ball over once in this game. And that's very uncharacteristic for both these teams. They both usually take a really good job of taking care of the football, but will eventually see that first strike of the game as the tailback able to leak out from the backfield, able to run away from really the entire defense. No one really accounting for him fully, and the Bobcats will take an early lead. Going to be up 7-3 here. Going to try to make this a 2-score game as he was trying to look for his tailback who was running that wheel route down the sideline. Unfortunately, it was double coverage and just not the best thrown ball. Let's be honest with ourselves. This ball could have certainly be better thrown, but it simply wasn't the case. I mean, it is what it is, but speaking of badly thrown balls, another interception. So we now seen two teams who both usually take good care of the football. They both turn the football over twice. So looking at the replay, maybe could have been a little bit more effort done for the receiver to prevent that turnover, but hey, that's just my 2 cents. I'm just a neutral commentator with no pull for any of the teams in this series necessarily, as Ohio gonna go ahead. Their star tailback, Matt Smith, I mean, that I could run through that hole. I'm like at best a 5'1", 40 dash kind of guy, and I could have ran through that hole. That was a massive hole created by that offensive line, and they're starting to pull away a little bit here. Buffalo had a chance to tie this game potentially, but they're going to fall short here. Throw another interception though, and get this, they get another shot. Ohio can't do anything with it, so Buffalo here, chance to maybe go ahead and see a tie ball game, and now we have a chance to see a 2-point conversion go down before the end of the third quarter. We'll see if they can convert it, throw it in the middle of the field, and it's a touchdown. Therefore, a 2-point conversion is good. So we get into this final quarter of action here, and we are looking at a tie ball game, 14 apiece between both these teams here. So whoever wins this quarter is going to end up winning the football game, man. And so far, looks like Buffalo might be wanting it just a little bit more now. Look at this, Lester, who I believe has a second interception, and that second INT coming in a big way as his team is able to drive downfield. 3 minutes left to play. Able to set up the field goal. Kicker, definitely excited about it. He's dancing and celebrating like an absolute madman. And now Ohio finds itself down by 3. Chance to win the game though, but it's going to be picked off. And that fat lady in the corner, he is certainly singing right now as Mark Houston gets arguably the biggest turnover of them all right there, as the Buffalo Bulls are going to indeed pull the upset off against the number 16 in this Dynasty universe. And Ohio will be holding at L for the very first time this year, losing by a final score of 17-14. It was a little bit ugly. It was a little bit of an uglier game, but hey, sometimes, you gotta find ways to win the football game in different ways. And certainly, Buffalo, they did exactly that, man. They found a way to get that job done, and that is what matters the most at the end of the day. So one of the more intriguing matchups that I wanted to see, not necessarily from a record standpoint, but we got Southeastern here, 6-1. We haven't seen them in gameplay, but they're not even ranked in the top 25. So I gotta see, is Southeastern really like that? Or do the pollsters have it right not having them in the top 25? We'll just have to wait and see how that goes. But Southeastern right now, in terms of the SEC East division race, in this new look SEC conference, Southeastern, they are in the driver's seat right now. They're up a game and a half in their division against everyone else. Northwestern State, really the closest team. Furman, not even close. They don't have a single non-conference, or not a single conference win as of yet. So, we'll see if Furman can hang with them, as we'll go ahead and see Southeastern, the school actually known as Southeastern Louisiana, down there by the bayou, as we'll see Chaz Jackson actually go to work here early. He's a pretty good quarterback, man. A little bit of an unknown. This team has not gotten a lot of coverage this year, despite getting off to a 6-1 start. That's the crazy part in this whole thing, Not a lot of love for Southeastern Louisiana, but Chaz Jackson, though? Hey, man, we might have something special here. He's getting some good throws and really tearing up this Furman secondary early now, as that is already 2 touchdowns for the junior quarterback. Taking an early 14-0 lead. I mean, that guy was wide but naked open down the sideline. Well, tad bit overthrown, but I mean, this guy still made the catch. We got the touchdown. That's all that matters. But check out this run here by a guy who might be a bad man. Gerald St. Poe, breaking some tackles. He is the centerpiece of this Furman offense, as this is actually their starter. He recently came back from injury, came in here, only 6 touchdowns, but didn't throw an interception yet. That might be why they're 2-5. So, hey, maybe this team is a little bit better than what their record says, but down 14-0. They need a score on board, and they are going to get it as double coverage deep downfield. It doesn't even matter, though, as quarterback gets it off right before he gets hit and still delivers a very good football, a very accurate ball. And it's now just a 1-score game, but Chaz Jackson, man, dude is absolutely special. 3 touchdowns in the first half for Chaz Jackson. That time a little bit more pressure, but hey, he got some more zip on that football to get it past the safety. It's 21-7 now, as Furman definitely needs a spark here. We'll see if they get it anytime soon, but it's not looking good, as the receivers are finding the holes in this zone defense. Looks like they were in a double high safety kind of look. As now Jackson gonna throw it to the left hand side, gets it out to the tailback, but the tailback fumbles the football, and maybe this is what Furman needs to get themselves back into this game. Furman with a huge turnover there by Bryson Scott gets the ball loose, but can they turn that to points on the other end? As we're getting into the last couple of minutes here, quarterback looking downfield. He's gonna launch this thing deep downfield, and that's also gonna be caught for a touchdown. When you give this quarterback time to throw, you can do some special things, man. We're seeing it right here Very competitive first half, by the way. It ends 21-14, at least the end of the first half. But what's really good about that possession is, they end the first half on a high note, and they start with the ball to begin this second half as Gerald St. Paul gets loose with it. Oh, baby. 72-yard touchdown run, and all of a sudden, the Paladins are knotted back even. Get those upset alert bells going, because we might have something here as John Hill, not related to me, of course, but John Hill also getting loose deep downfield. We might be having ourselves a little bit of a track meet, but unfortunately the drive does end up stalling out. So now Furman taking the field again with a chance to possibly take the lead, but Hector Irvin with the interception, the free safety, spoiling that, but can't capitalize off that turnover. So now Furman back on the field, a chance to take the lead, and they will do just that behind the tailback of Gerald St. Paul. Bad certified man, as he got excellent blocking downfield, just followed the blocks, and then eventually he just accelerated to get past those last few defenders. We're now talking about a Furman lead now, 28-21, and it's only going to grow. Poe, ooh, making some dance moves in the backfield. One man left to beat, and he can't get it into the end zone that time. But a massive gain downfield as the Furman offense now with almost 300 yards rushing. They averaged less than 80 coming into this game, but the rushing is setting up the passing. And now we're looking at Furman possibly right in front of our very eyes this year, getting their very first win in SEC conference play. We'll see if Jazz Jackson has something to say about it. 17 for 32, 3 touchdowns. He's been good, but he needs his team to step up here. Looking over the middle, but it's going to be incomplete. He threw a hospital ball there. I'm surprised he was able to get back after that, because that looked like it definitely, it's going to sting a little bit. Going to feel that hit a little bit when we get to the next morning, right? So that's a crazy for me. But St. Paul with yet another touchdown. That might have been his third or possibly his fourth touchdown. He's a bad man. He alone is carrying this team as, Gene is closing in on 1,000 yards. But Southeastern Louisiana, they can also run this football now, and they're going to need some of those big chunk plays to try to make a comeback here after having such an excellent first half as the tight end gets loose. Oh, if he was a little bit faster than my grandmother, that could have been an easy touchdown, because he had all this green grass. Look at all of that. No one in front of him. He just gets caught from behind with relative ease. So now, Jackson inside the 10. He's going to look towards the back of the end zone here, and he's going to find his receiver, Harrington, to make it a 2-score gain. But they go for the onside kick. It doesn't work out, and Gene St. Paul makes sure that there is absolutely no shot whatsoever that the Paladins will fall here today. Touchdown run number 4 in this one. And you want to talk about a guy that just continues to get better and better as this game goes on. Gene St. Paul, definitely that guy. Chaz Jackson trying to get some chunk plays to try to get his team back in the game, but it doesn't happen. It doesn't happen like that, as we got a 3rd and short, maybe a last-second turnover, but they actually pass the football. They don't rest their morals here. They get another huge pass play. Kind of reminds me of what Joe Burrow did the first time against the Baltimore Ravens, to add some additional passing yards to his thing. We actually got a penalty flag there. Might be for unsportsmanlike conduct, which is an actual thing in this game. But anyways, Southeastern, they fall in this one. They fall by 3 touchdowns. We see them lose by a final score of 49-28. And Furman, sure enough, is going to get that first win in conference play. And that's huge, because Southeastern, yes, they'll still have the lead in their division after this week, but now we're talking about Northwestern State. If they can take care of business in their next conference game, they're only a half game behind. right? Like that's the crazy part. Only a half game behind. You know, it might make things a little bit more interesting in that SEC East. Meanwhile, things are also heating up over in the Pac-10 conference, at least the new look Pac-10, as we got a race between North Dakota State and Montana. They're fighting for that #1 spot, as we see the Bison coming in ranked number 22 in the nation, taking on Weber State, who, you know, they're doing solid 2-2 in conference play. You know, they're a solid football team, not a great football team, but they are certainly, you know, a solid team, not a liquid or a gas. As Weber State, if y'all remember from the previous episode, they actually nearly pulled the upset on Montana. They were just a couple of minutes away from winning that game. So I think they're going to use the same formula that they use against Montana, trying to take the air out of the football and make sure that North Dakota State, this elite offense, make sure that they don't get the ball as much as possible. If Weber State can do that, you know, there's no guarantees, you know, in this world that we live in anymore, but we can certainly see an upset here. It could happen. Problem is, you know, you actually have to stop them on defense. That's the huge caveat, and that's easier said than done. Let's be real with ourselves. North Dakota State, simply built different. We already see a 70-yard touchdown run. This was their first play, by the way. So same format as what North Dakota State had in their first drive as what Montana had in their first drive. Weber State driving down, taking care of, you know, most of the time off the clock in the first quarter, and then, you know, from there, North Dakota State, you know, doing their thing, man. You know, not a lot of plays, but we already see 2 touchdowns here already. North Dakota State taking an early 2-possession lead, and we get some special teams action here as well on top of it. And if y'all already know, if I'm showing special teams, something about to go down, and sure enough, Weber State just does not have the athletes to keep up with this man, as he is going to be strutting his way down the sideline, and mama, there goes that man. That was a 75-yard touchdown, and it's already a 21-3 lead for the Bison. And this heavily favors North Dakota State because they love to pound the football, and not only are they really good at it, in the process, that also means that they are going to take some time off the clock. So that's just going to make Weber State press a little bit more. The cycle might continue unless we see something happen. We'll see what they can do with Brian Alexander, but he gets the pitch off last second. I don't know how he managed to get that through. That was a lot of traffic there, you know, in that box. So the fact is that Brian Alexander was able to get that through, like, this is not an easy pitch to make. That could have very well been intercepted and going the other way. It's risky, but, you know, sometimes you got to go out there and risk it for the biscuit. That's what made Reggie Bush, you know, former USC running back, so exciting to watch, because he would risk it for the biscuit sometimes. Or you can just take the easiest path of resistance and be like this guy, strutting down the sideline once again. Touchdown number 2. And I've hardly blinked. I don't know about you guys, but it's already 42-3. They are missing Seth Washington, who got hurt in the Montana game last week. So they had Joe Davis start for the game, and it was ugly. Just plain old ugly. North Dakota State winning convincingly, getting that 69 points in the game, and that certainly is very nice. So we take this time to go ahead and check in on one of your guys' custom coaches that did make it into season number 1. We got the 19th ranked Southeast Missouri State Redhawks taking on the Tennessee Tech Golden Eagles in new look Big Ten Conference play. And the Big Ten Conference at the top, it is very tight. The majority of this conference right now is just one game back or even less, you know, including a freeway tie, which does happen to include Tennessee Tech and Southeast Missouri State. So whoever ends up winning this game could very well play a really big factor in who ends up winning this conference, because remember, back in NCAA football 06, there was no conference championship for the Big Ten. It's just straight up who had the best conference record at the end of the year. So let's go ahead and jump into this, man. Gonna be a great matchup here for sure. Andrew Moeller starts him off with an interception of Glenn Watkins. Just playing optimistic defense, although the Golden Eagles couldn't take advantage of it right then. But this is a team that definitely has improved some. You know, we're talking about a team that actually went up against, I believe it was either Southern Illinois or it was Indiana State. And, you know, they didn't look great in that early season matchup in non-conference play way back in week number 2. So to see that improvement, definitely a good thing. You love to see it. And we'll see if Southeast Missouri State can strike first, and we're not going to see it, at least not yet, as Gwen Williams tried to throw a dot in the back of the end zone, just couldn't make it happen. Beautiful job on defense, by the way, reading the eyes of the quarterback and making a play on the football. With that being said, first and goal from the 1, trying to get it out to the tailback. That's considered a fumble somehow, as that was thrown behind the line of scrimmage. Running back can't handle it, and Tennessee Tech is going to take over inside their own 15-yard line. As now, we'll see if Tennessee Tech can get themselves a little bit more breathing room. But that didn't happen. Jason Moncois gets the interception, and that is going to essentially set up a red zone opportunity off rip, but somehow not coming away with any points from that. A missed field goal of all things, making sure that it stays 0-0. So we've seen at least Southeast Missouri State with an opportunity to come out here and get points on the board, a red zone chance. We haven't seen Tennessee Tech cross the 50-yard line yet, at least until recently with that huge pass play down the sideline. We'll see if they can build off of it, but Jason Moncois, once again, second interception and second sack of the year in the same game, forcing 3rd and 18, and a subsequent sack is going to make sure that they stay out of field goal range. So both teams missing out on opportunities, man. Just missed opportunities on both sides. As still, we have not seen anyone score, but we're seeing plenty of turnovers, though. That's definitely a thing, as Gwen Williams is going to throw his second interception here in the first half, and we barely started the second quarter, by the way. We'll see if finally we see some points scored, and sure enough, Tennessee Tech, with 4:37 left here in the second quarter, they will finally go ahead and strike first blood on the scoreboard. The Goose Eggs are finally gone like a girl in a country song. And it's 7-0 in favor of the Golden Eagles. We'll see if Coach Divergian's offense can go ahead and try to get something going here, at least before the end of this first half. But just really struggling right now. If it's not the interceptions, we're definitely seeing some issues with protecting this quarterback, man. If you can't protect the quarterback, if he's going to be, you know, sitting on his back all day long, it's hard to win football games. That's just the nature of the game. But still a tight game here, you know, 7-0, 10-0. You know, still could definitely go either way. We'll see if one of these teams can possibly pull away here, and then we might see that as well. That was an incredibly tight window. Quarterback was facing tremendous pressure. I mean, look at this window. There is not a very big window whatsoever. That had to be thrown perfectly, and it was just that. It was a perfect throw, but the quarterback just making things happen himself, getting outside of the pocket and shaking off a couple of defenders, man, in open space. You love to see it. But toughness as Tennessee Tech gets up 17-0 right here. He breaks 3 tackles on his way to the end zone in a 17-0 game here. So trying to get something going. Scott Parrish, they actually run a little bit of a fake. It works. But again, just not full-on execution because his receiver fumbles the ball. And Tennessee Tech gets his hands on it, of course. So it's just been that kind of day for the Red Hawks. Just down horrendous in this Week 10 performance so far. Still time to turn around, but this is not going to help. A huge run down the right-hand side as Vince Fontenot going to get some good yards there. And going to have his team sitting just right outside the red zone, where the quarterback takes care of the rest. Beautiful 10 toes down movement. That probably would have been a catch in the NFL as well. He got both feet in. It's 24-0, man. I thought this game would be a lot closer. It hasn't been to this point, but still a lot of football left. Gwen Williams can still turn around one of the last plays of the third quarter as we see him hook up with his favorite skill position player, Scott Parrish, who had a huge game against Murray State. That's why they won that one. Maybe they have to go to them in order to win this game. We'll have to wait and see. But Southeast Missouri State, they get on the board. They will also go for the 2-point conversion. And they're actually successful with that. They get it down to a 2-possession game. But just not getting the timely stops that they're looking for, as that's another touchdown for the Golden Eagles. And it's now 2.5 minutes left. Not a lot of hope here, but, Coach Ty Bergien, he's a man that will never give up no matter what the score says. He's going to have his guys fighting to the very end, and this team manifests in that. He holds that dear to their hearts, and they're going to fight to the very end. This could very well be their final drive of the game, and they at least finish strong. Scott Parrish gets to the end zone. They'll go for yet another 2-point conversion to get it to a 15-point deficit. But of course, they will not make that happen, unfortunately. So 1 minute left to play. We'll probably see them take down the clock a little bit, unless we see something incredible happen as Vince Vadenot, he fumbles the football. Hang on now, Southeast Missouri State, we might have a little bit something here. Hang on now. Hang on, it ain't over yet. The fat lady, she's getting warmed up, but she's not singing yet. But that is going to seal it, though. The last thing you want to do, take a sack. He was looking downfield, trying to find someone open deep downfield, and no one got open. So Lane Ty Bergien takes his third loss of the year. His team is going to fall to 5-3, and that means they're going to fall 1 game back of the conference championship lead. Tennessee State, at least for the moment, is going to be sitting on top of the Big Ten Conference. So great win for Tennessee Tech. We'll see if this is enough for them to get into the top 25. They've been hovering around there, haven't quite cracked it, at least just yet. But a lot of turnovers in this one, but Tennessee Tech wins the turnover battle and will also win the game. So we'll check in on another team that's ranked in the top 25 and also happens to be controlled by one of your custom coaches as well. Nicky Montano and his James Madison Dukes are out here in Bridgeforth Stadium in Harrisonburg, Virginia, taking on the conference opponent North Carolina A&T State, who the Yankees are still searching for their very first win. And actually, matter of the fact, since we've seen them beat South Dakota State on a last-second score, they have not won a single game. They have not won since then, and not going to be easy to pull the upset off, as Kenny Raymer, one of the best quarterbacks in the country, currently number 4 in terms of number of passing touchdowns thrown this season. And we'll see North Carolina A&T go to work. They will start with the football. We'll see what they can do with it, as quarterback's going to try to get up into the pocket. Had decent pocket presence to move on up, but just didn't see that secondary defender. Drive does not lead anywhere. Meanwhile, Raymer's looking at home. He's, had some time to make himself a sandwich if he wanted to do that, but wow, it's tipped away. How about the DBs staying home and, playing discipline? That's not always easy to do when you have a quarterback that has as much time as Raymer just did. But can they do it consistently? Well, that's a different story. Touchdown pass thrown in the back of the end zone. Actually, a nice leaping grab there as well to go with it. As long as this catch, not only, diving to get that catch, but getting 10 toes down there as well. It's going to make it 7-0 early. And that could very well be the difference. One quarterback has time to make throws. The other, not so much, as we see Lance Riley, second interception of the year. He's also got 22 tackles to go with it. Almost manages. He almost counts on hand shoes, hair grenades, and nuclear missiles. But, he got his team set up in a really good spot, and offense catches in. Another passing touchdown for Kenny Raymer. His 25th passing touchdown, I believe. At least the second one of the day, finding a nice receiver in the back of the end zone. It's already 14-0 in favor of Dukes. Probably not going to be a lot of trouble for James Madison to pull this win with how this game is going. Definitely everything going the way of the Dukes so far. They're trying to, really improve themselves. since they were blown off the field a couple of episodes ago by Temple. They're trying to rebound from that, and so far, they're stepping up to the challenge, man. They took those adjustments, and they, to their credit, man, they have made those adjustments. Then they've been playing better as a football team overall, in my opinion. And they could make it 21-0 as well here, as the running back gets involved. Now, James Madison doesn't run the ball all that much, but Montano calling the running back's number there, Mr. Williams. And it's a great hole created by that offensive line, 21-0 now. As we get into 4 minutes left in the second quarter now, North Carolina trying to go ahead and throw a pass here, but A&T just doesn't have the bodies up front to contain the front seven of James Madison, and yet another punt gonna have to happen because of it. Meanwhile, Raymer is he's having the time of his life right now. He's having some fun. I thought we were gonna see him get his third passing touchdown. Didn't happen, but we'll get him inside the 10-yard line for a goal line opportunity. Something that they have been very good at. 2 for 2 thus far on red zone opportunities, and they're gonna make that thing 3 for 3 as well. Says it's now 28-0. We're not even done with the first half yet. It's been that bad. Hopefully the Aggies can get something going, but I don't know if that's gonna happen. 6 sacks already in this ball game. 6 sacks, 4 hurries. Got an interception to go with it as well. Not to mention that, of course, was almost a pick 6. You already know what time it is. And Raymer, it's just setting up great field position for him. And that's, this offense, this is a good offense, man. It's a real good offense. James Madison with another score. It's going to be 35-0 now. Raymer with 4 passing touchdowns now. He's been doing that kind of stuff, all game long. Defense doing its thing. Special teams working it as well. As we get into a little bit of the second half, see if things get a little bit better. Difference, definitely not the turnovers, but we got to talk about that total offense. North Carolina A&T, they only had 8 total yards in the first half. I mean, when you have less yards than the other team has points, like, it doesn't matter what level it is. You're not going to win that way. James Madison, they're going to roll all over North Carolina A&T, winning huge. So before we jump into the final gameplay of this episode, let's take a moment to look around the NCAA just to see, what kind of notable scores that we're looking at, as well as checking in on various top 25 teams around the country. As we start with this Conference USA game between Tulane and Northeastern. Tulane taking care of business against the Northeastern Huskies, winning 38-16, improving to 6-2. Meanwhile, Ball State actually had a little bit of an upset alert this time around as they took on Southern Illinois on the road. Ball State able to just narrowly escape the jaws of defeat, winning by a touchdown, while the Salukis fall to 1-7. As for Akron, they had a little bit easier time in their conference matchup against Illinois State, winning 55-13 on the road, though Redbirds still searching for that first win. As for the Southern Jaguars, they're still looking pretty good in Big 12 conference action. They took on Prairie View A&M on the road, and Southern winning big, 52-21. Prairie View 0-8, while the Southern Jaguars improved to 5-3. As for San Diego State, they actually had quite a challenge within their own conference, taking on the South Dakota Coyotes. South Dakota still 6-3 despite this game, but San Diego State will remain undefeated though. They're now 9-0 on the season. As for Rice, they had a little bit of an easier time in their conference matchup against the Charleston Cougars, winning by a score of 42-7. The Rice Owls now 6-1, while Charleston falls to 1-6. As for Temple, they had a home matchup against Indiana State, and kind of a tale of two teams. One team undefeated while the other is winless, and it still remains that way as Temple wins 46-7 against the Sycamores of Indiana State. As for Utah State, we saw them go on the road, play against Appalachian State, and Appalachian State struggling mightily in this one, getting completely blanked, losing 38-0. As for North Texas, they had some Sun Belt action against the UL Monroe Indians, now known as the Red Hawks, here in 2022 as of the recording of this video. North Texas winning big, winning by a final score of 31-21. As for Kent State, they narrowly avoid upset themselves, beating Western Michigan on the road 28-24 to improve to 6-2. As for Mid-Tennessee State, though, they are not as fortunate. They actually get upset on the road, losing to FIU 29-22. So this now takes us to the final game of this episode. We got a Conference USA matchup. Game of the week, by the way. We got Eastern Carolina undefeated, 7-0 with a 4-0 conference record. And then we also have the University of Central Florida out on the field. They are just hanging on to that top 25. They're ranked number 25 in the country. So if UCF doesn't win here, they're going to likely no longer be ranked. And going to be a challenge, man, for sure to pull the upset, as they got one of the best running backs in football. This guy, Haston, he's absolutely special, and definitely not a surprise whatsoever that Eastern Carolina is, going to be rocked with here tonight. They got a really talented football team, and we're seeing it right here, back at the end zone. Ricky McFadden throws an absolute dot to the back of the end zone. Touchdown for Eastern Carolina, and not to mention, like I said, Haston, he's a bad man. Nice little spin move there. That now makes it 14-0 here early on. As look at this run, spin move, gets away from the one defender, almost nearly breaks the man's poor ankles. So an early lead for the Pirates as the Golden Knights look to respond back, as Tyrone trying to find somebody to get open, but an ill-advised throw, and it sets up an easy interception for Sean Douglas, who's going to have his team starting out in the red zone there. So that's a huge interception as they start on the 12-yard line. Ricky McFadden going to run the pitch real quick, but that's fumbled. And now UCF could go the other way. No one's going to catch him. Somebody call his mama, because there goes that man. Touchdown, Central Florida. Wow. Huge fumble return that gets them right back into this game. And I don't know if the footballs are just slick or what's going on. We're seeing quite a few fumbles here early now. As now UCF, they turn the football over. And Eastern Carolina, who by the way already has one of the best red zone offenses in college football down here at the FCS level, they're in the top 3. As McFadden looking towards the end zone, but tries to throw a dump ball, and UCF wins it, so they get the interception right back. And it remains, at least for the time being, a one-possession game. Is now Tyrone gonna drop back? No, it's a direct snap. UCF in the end zone. Touchdown, Golden Knights. And it's all knotted up at 14 apiece for the time being. Still a close game, and listen, when it's close and you gotta need your best players to make the play, Haston's one of the best, man. Haston is definitely one of the best in that regard. Able to stiff arm a man into the next dimension. So that extends the lead to 10. And then we'll see another carry for him later in this game. And it's going to be yet another touchdown. 31-14. A little bit easier path to the end zone this time. Didn't even have to break any tackles. Didn't even have to break a sweat. So now, 17-point lead. Haston with another carry. He's got some space to work. And it's another touchdown. 4 touchdowns on the day for Haston. Bad man status. Look at this man go. Breaks the tackle there. Gets away from the defenders. And just not a lot of good gap integrity for the Golden Knights, as it sets up a really big hole. And that hole, I think, is going to get just a little bit deeper now. Third turnover of the day for UCF, and it might start to get a little bit out of reach, as one more score could definitely put the nail in the coffin if we haven't seen that peripheral nail in the coffin already. And sure enough, Haston gonna get another carry, another touchdown. And Eastern Carolina, sure enough, they take care of that business, do what they need to do. They win big in this one, 45-21 for this week's Game of the Week. So that will conclude all of the gameplay for week number 10, as we are getting into the final third of the regular season. We just have, I believe, like 5 weeks of regular season action before we start postseason play. So we are moving through this regular season pretty quickly as we see who's on the cover. North Dakota State on the cover. They're not getting much love, man. I mean, look where they are in the polls right now. Undefeated. We seen them win impressively multiple times, and yet they're only ranked number 19 in the country. I mean, Brian Alexander doesn't even have a single interception. This is a really good football team, but they're not being treated like that necessarily, and that's a shame. Now, that being said, as we are getting closer to the end of the regular season, we are going to try to focus in on more of the games that are going to have a direct impact on these various divisional and conference championship races. So, that being said, we'll go ahead and jump into it, starting with the new look ACC. In the Atlantic Division, right now, Delaware is sitting on top. They're having a good season. 5-3 so far, 5-1 conference record. They're sitting on top. They are a team that handed James Madison their only loss in conference play. But don't sleep on Florida A&M. They're right in there as well. They're 4-2 as well. And then South Carolina State, we haven't gotten a chance to cover them yet, but 5-4 with a 4-2 conference record. They're right in there as well, and they could sneak into that conference championship. Now, over on the coastal side, this is probably the more challenging, like at least from a top end perspective, like in terms of like this division. We know about New Hampshire. They're number 6 in the country. James Madison's also a top 15 team as well. But one team that's not ranked in the top 25, but is also just one game out, is Norfolk State. They didn't win a single game in non-conference play, but that being said, though, Norfolk State, they are 4-1 in conference play, and they do get the opportunity as well. They're playing against James Madison next week, so this game right here is going to really set up an opportunity maybe to pull within a game of New Hampshire, because I'm not sure of New Hampshire. They're playing against Temple, so it's not a conference opponent, so it'll pull them within half a game, whoever wins this game. So that's a huge matchup, certainly to look out for. Now, for the Big Ten Conference, the picture got a little bit murkier. We've seen opportunities where a team can go ahead and get in the driver's seat, but we haven't really seen that in this conference. 4 teams within one game of each other, 2 of which who are ranked. Tennessee State, who just entered the top 25, they're 4-1 in the conference, and then Tennessee Tech as well. They're 4-1 as well. They are 5-3, fresh off a victory against Southeast Missouri State, who was in the top 25. They did fall out, but 3-2 conference record. They're still in the thick of things, and so is Eastern Illinois, who's right in there as well. It's going to be a really exciting finish here at the end of the regular season to see who ends up winning this Big Ten championship, because there's no conference championship game. But speaking of excitement, the Big 12 North, one way or the other, someone is going to win this division, right? We got all of 6 teams in the division that are either tied for first place or are 1 game back. Right now, Alcorn State technically has the lead over Grambling State, but this is a league that will sort itself out for the last few weeks of the season. Chattanooga's in there as well, but so is Arkansas Pine Bluff, Alabama State, who is currently riding a 3-game losing streak, and then Jackson State's in there as well. All of these teams with an opportunity to win the Big 12 North Division. As for the Big 12 South, not as much parity going on, as we got 3 teams at the top, all tied for first place. Western Carolina, who actually just suffered their first conference loss of the year to Alabama A&M. Then we also got Southern, who got the blowout against Prairie Valley A&M. And then another team that's falling in the radar as well, we got Texas Southern, the Tigers, 5-3 overall, 4-1 conference record. They're right in the thick of things as well, with at least Mississippi Valley State and Alabama A&M being competitive. Now for the Big East right now, we do see the Brown Bears really in the driver's seat right now. They're 5-3 with a 4-0 conference record. They have a 1.5 game lead over Penn, who's in second place. And then Dartmouth, Harvard, and Yale are both 2 games back. Quickly going over to Conference USA, because there's, not all real FCS teams. East Carolina is currently on top. They're 5-0 with William and Mary 1.5 games back. And then over on the west side, Tulane is currently in the lead with Rice with a 1-game difference with SMU 1.5 games off. In the MAC conference though, Akron is currently sitting at 5-0 with Ohio with a 4-1 conference record. These two teams actually still need to play each other, so the division championship could be in the pipeline for us late in the season. Over on the west side though, Eastern Michigan, number 2, they are 1 game ahead of Ball State, who's also still in the thick of things, still a very competitive conference. Over in the Mountain West real fast, San Diego State certainly in that driver's seat, 6-0, with the second place team being UNLV, which San Diego State did end up blowing out. So unless there's a major collapse, San Diego State, they should win the Mountain West. As for the Pac-12, we currently have a 2-way tie. North Dakota State at number 19 in the country, and then Montana at number 17 in the nation. I believe this is a conference that does end up playing 9 conference games, so these two teams should go up against each other, and that should be a very exciting matchup. Now, the SEC is certainly a fun one to watch out for. Over in the SEC East, we have a 4-way tie for first place. We got Georgia Southern, who's 6-2 overall. The Citadel actually has improved as the season has gone on. They're in the thick of this race. McNeese State, who was once in the top 25, they're 5-3 overall. And then Texas State, who didn't win a single game in non-conference play, but also have rebounded. They're right in the thick of it for that Eastern Division race. Over on the west side, though, despite Southeastern losing their first game in gameplay, actually, within the conference, they're still sitting pretty. They're still on top with a 1-game lead. However, Northwestern State gets an opportunity to close the gap as they are right there, hanging with Southeastern Louisiana. We also have Elon that could sneak in there, but this is a more competitive division overall. Quickly going over to Sun Belt though, Arkansas State and North Texas are both currently tied in first with a 4-1 conference record, followed by FIU and Louisiana Lafayette with a half-game differential. FIU just getting in at 25. Then to round out the conference standings update, we have the LAC conference. Right now, 2-way tie, New Mexico State and Utah State. These two teams should be playing up against each other later in the season. Might be towards the end, so that'll be something exciting to watch out for. Idaho, San Jose State, and Stephen F. Austin also in the thick of things, as well as Southern Utah. So guys, that is actually going to go ahead and wrap things up for the Week 10 episode of the inaugural season of the FCS Dynasty. What conference championship race are you guys most excited for? Let me know down in that comment section. And in the meantime, if you enjoyed the video in general, it would mean a lot to me if you go ahead and smash that like button. And then if you're brand new, hit that subscribe button, man. You know, we're having a good time over here trying to grow the community. And it also helps a brother out with that YouTube algorithm, because she can be brutal sometimes, man. I'm going to be honest with y'all. But with that, this is John J. Gaming on the mic signing off. I'm hoping you're all out there having a good one. Take care, everybody.